Assalamu alaikum. Welcome all to Easy Human Anatomy channel. In this video I discuss glomerulus of the cerebellum. They are complex synaptic structure. They are located within the granular layer, the innermost layer of the gray matter of the cerebellum. This is the gray matter of the cerebellum. This is the outer molecular layer. This is the middle Purkinje cell layer, and this is inner granular layer. So here the locations of the glomerulus of the cerebellum. Now what is the composition of the granular layer of the gray matter of the cerebellum? This is the granular layer of the gray matter of the cerebellum. It's contain mainly granule cell, few Golgi cell and synaptic glomeruli. The glomerulus of the cerebellum present in the island of the granular layer. This is the granular layer. This granular layer contains cell body of the granule cell and occasional Golgi cell, and this area is for the glomerulus of the cerebellum. So what is cerebellar island? The greater part of the granular layer is occupied by granule cell. The spaces not occupied by them are called the cerebellar island. The structure of the glomeruli. The diameter of the glomeruli is 10 micrometer. The core structure of the glomerulus is formed by rosette. Rosette is the terminal portions of the mossy fiber. Mossy fiber actually axon, and this is the terminal end of the axon, and there is a swelling, and this swelling is known as the rosette. This is the dendrites of the granule cell. It synapses with the axons, the mossy fiber, and this synapse is exodendritic and it is excitatory. The axons of the Golgi cell and dendrites of the Golgi cell also synapse with rosette, and these synapses are inhibitory. The interglomerulus is covered by a special astrocyte, the velate astrocyte. They are the protoplasmic astrocyte with extremely thin veil-like processes that spread out and overlap each other. So this is the summary of the structure of the glomeruli. The core of each glomeruli is formed by the expanded terminations of the mossy fiber. This termination is called the rosette, and numerous dendrites of the granule cells synapse with the rosette, and these synapses are exodendritic and excitatory. Axon, terminal and dendrites of Golgi cells. These synapses are inhibitory, and this glomerulus is covered by velate astrocyte. The synaptic element of the glomerulus. You know different part of the synapse. This is the presynaptic neuron, and this is the postsynaptic neuron. This is the terminal end of the axon contain neurotransmitter. Neurotransmitter is released in the synaptic cleft. Synaptic cleft means the gap between presynaptic neuron and postsynaptic neuron. And postsynaptic neuron contain neurotransmitter receptor. So neurotransmitter is bind with this receptor, so external potential of this cell is transmitted to the next neuron. This is the electron microscopic picture of the glomerulus, and this purple color cell is the terminal end of the mossy fiber, the rosette, and these are the mitochondria present at the terminal end of the mossy fiber, and these are the dendrites of the granule cell. So you see the dendrites of the granule cell makes synaptic contact with the rosette, and this red color area indicate the synapses. This is the axons of the Golgi cell. So you see these axons of the Golgi cell makes synapses with the dendrites of the granule cells. And this is the rosette. This is the presynaptic component. This is the axons of the Golgi cell. This is also presynaptic component, and these are the dendrites of the granule cells, and they are the postsynaptic element. So these presynaptic elements and this presynaptic element secrete neurotransmitter, and the dendrites of the Golgi cell contain neurotransmitter receptor, bind with the neurotransmitter, and action potential of the mossy fiber or Golgi cell is transmitted to the Golgi cell, granule cell. Mossy fiber are efferent tract of the cerebellum. It has excitatory effect. Each mossy fiber divided into 30 to 40 terminal swelling the rosette. A single rosette makes synaptic contact with dendrites of as many as 15 granule cells. The mossy fiber may stimulate thousands of Purkinje cells through the granule cell. You see, this is the mossy fiber. It makes synaptic contact with the dendrites of the granule cell. This is the axon of the granule cell. It's make the horizontal line by its axon, which is right angular to the dendrites of the Purkinje cell. So through these horizontal axons of the granule cells able to stimulate thousands of Purkinje cells. So a single mossy fiber make synaptic contact with the granule cell, and the axons of the granule cells can stimulate thousands of Purkinje cells. This is the efferent fiber of the cerebellum. This is another efferent fiber of the cerebellum. Clumping fiber came from the inferior olivary nucleus, and the single Purkinje cell makes synaptic synapses with the single clumping fiber. So single Purkinje cell is stimulated by one clumping fiber. Purkinje cell from the center of functional unit of the cerebellum. Cerebellum is maintain the movement of the body. The mossy fiber mainly originated from the pontine nuclei and from the spinal cord. The function of the glomerulus. They are the first processing station for the efferent nerve fiber entering the cerebellum. Input came from the mossy fiber, terminate by the synapses with the Golgi and granule cell. Granule cell acts as an excitatory neuron for the Purkinje cell, but Golgi cell acts as an inhibitory neuron for the Purkinje cell. So mossy fiber, dendrites of the granule cells, and the parallel fiber or horizontal fiber or axons of the granule cells stimulated thousands of Purkinje cells. You see, this is the Golgi cell. This is the axon of the Golgi cell, which makes synaptic contact with the granule cells. It has inhibitory effect, so granule cell is inhibit, so Purkinje cell is inhibit. This is the motor cortex of cerebrum. In this slide, I actually shortly discuss the function of the cerebellum and role of glomerulus. This is the motor cortex. You see, motor cortex give motor information to the basal nuclei, and basal nuclei also send feedback to the motor cortex. Other cortical association area give informations to the motor cortex. Motor cortex also receive information from the cerebellum and also give information to the cerebellum. And this is the motor order for a movement. Before going to the initiation of the movement, this information is go to the cerebellum, and cerebellum adjusts the informations and movement is occur. After movement, this information is again came to the cerebellum, and cerebellum give feedback to the motor cortex. And regarding the information of the movement, information directly also sent to the motor cortex. So in this slide I discuss the mossy fiber. You see, this is the motor cortex and this is the pontile nuclei, and this tract, name of this tract is corticopontile tract, and this tract is known as the pontocerebellar tract. Pontocerebellar tract or mossy fiber. This is the efferent fiber for the cerebellum. This efferent fiber or mossy fiber is make glomeruli. It causes synapses with the dendrites of the granule cells, and this synapse is excitatory and stimulate Purkinje cells. This stimulation, this is the dentate nuclei, the nuclei of the cerebellum. So this excitatory information is passed from Purkinje cell to the dentate nucleus, from dentate nucleus to thalamus, from thalamus to the sensory area of the cerebrum, then motor area. How the Purkinje cell is function, if you see, if the function of the Purkinje cell is inhibited, what happen? This Golgi cell is stimulated, and you see these axons of the Golgi cell is synapses with the dendrites of the granule cell. So this synapse is inhibitory. So when this synapses act, is inhibit granule cell, which inhibit Purkinje cell. So cerebellum is function this way, and the role of the glomerulus in function of this, I discuss the role of the glomerulus in functioning cerebellum. So this is all about glomerulus of the cerebellum. If you like this video, please press the like button and please subscribe my channel.